Welcome back to another sports podcast, everybody, because it's exactly what the world needs is another sports podcast. We're the Sweaty Trio. We're glad to be back in the locker room. Today's guest is a Canadian sports media legend.
Thank you.
You've seen him chopping it up with Kobe, Alexander Ovechkin, Aaron Rodgers, and so many more. He's brought swag to the sidelines and turned interviews into must-watch TV. From TSN to Bleacher Report, he's done everything with that Cabbie energy. He's a trailblazer, a storyteller, someone who made sports personal for a generation of fans. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Cabbie Richards.
Thank you very much. That was very generous. Thank you very much. We clap for ourselves around here.
Amen.
Thank you.
To be honest,
Sweaty Trio, but it's pretty nice in here. Like it's air conditioned. It's
like 20 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Once we get heated, man.
Like,
I'm a little sweaty. I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
You're good, bro. You're good. You're good.
No, man.
If we have a arm wrestle, I'm gonna win. So
my hand will just slip out from the sweat. So don't even worry about it.
Genuinely, man, you're a legend from Cabbie on the street
Thanks,
all the way to what you're doing now. You have essentially pioneered Canadian sports, Canadian media. You've made humans out of a lot of athletes, especially in spaces like hockey, where it's kind of hard to get personality out of these guys.
Have you guys had any hockey players on this yet?
We have not.
No, we've had a football player.
Oh, nice.
We've had one NFL player, and we had a CFL player, and then we're getting a golfer on soon. But
nice. CFL guys, in my experience, the best.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, half the league's American, half the league's Canadian, or maybe more Americans than Canadians, but those guys are just super good. Hockey players are hard to crack.
Yeah.
Very hard. I think it took me 3 full years to crack Sidney Crosby to like get him to chuckle. Yeah. And I got a great idea from a former head coach, and his name was Steve Ludzig. And the funniest bit I've ever done was asking hockey players how they tape their stick, how they wrap their knobs, with the obvious innuendo of like, okay, and also like, how big is your knob? And then, halfway through, some of the guys got it, and like I remember this one moment where Jarrett Stoll's like, "Yeah, some of these guys around here have big stick," and then he gets it, he catches himself. I'm like, "I'm sorry, they have big knobs around here?" And he's like, "Oh my god!" And Sid, when I finally cracked him, he goes, "It's not huge, but it's not small." I'm like, "Oh, well, you work with what you got." He goes, "Yeah," and then he laughed and was like, I mean, Sid, much like Connor, they had the privilege, but also the immense pressure of like having the entire sport on their shoulders. Like, because as a culture, we're so ready, and we're we can't wait to anoint the next one.
Yeah.
And it went Gretzky right to Sid, and went Sid right to Connor. And in basketball, it was MJ, and then it was like Kobe, but it was Kobe a little bit, but there was like LeBron. Here you go. Here's the whole league. Yeah. You're 18, perfect. Here you go. So it was. So yeah, when you guys get hockey players here, you guys are cool, so they might feel very comfortable in this environment, but it's tough.
Thank you. I appreciate
you almost have to talk about. Oh yeah, it's cool. Some cool vibe. You almost have to. One way that I'm not allowed to use. Well, no, I shouldn't say not allowed. But when I went from the Score to TSN, there were a few hacks that I would use that I couldn't use there, because the Score is very much like, it was a third network. It was a smaller network. We could take way more chances. But when I went to TSN, I was like, okay, this is TSN. It's a sports leader in Canada. I had to like grow up a little bit. I couldn't just wear T-shirts and baseball caps. I had to wear like my version. So I just wore like a tie, and I rolled up my sleeves. I'm like, okay, it's like business casual, and that's still my same vibe. But I would always ask dudes about girls. Always.
100%.
That was like this crutch. And then guys are obviously start like smiling and whatever, and then I go like, okay, let me see your I could say, let me see your phone, or let me smell your fingers. I definitely couldn't say that now. Like, what they'd be like, God, we're not airing this.
You would have been canceled so fast.
No, yeah, they'd be like, okay, listen, we're gonna Michael from HR, just come down here, come to edit 4:05. So, yeah, that was. So again, when you guys have some, it's a little bit tougher.
Smell their fingers is what you're saying.
Don't ask. You just don't ask. Don't tell. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Handshake right to the face.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, Cabbie, I gotta ask, man.
Sure.
Did you ever get the key to Kobe's house?
I never did, man.
Never did?
Vanessa never let us shoot there. But that was, the first time I went to LA to film an interview with him was late. It was December of 2006, and we had to submit questions. The first time, I've only had to do that maybe one or two other times in my career, because generally the PR, you get a media pass, and then it's just agreed upon, like, all right, it's 45 minutes, you can go talk to the players at the allotted time. But Kobe was like, he was much more protective of his image back then. And then we just sent him, like, my producer Dave Cricks, I think, just sent some generics of, well, how do you train? Like, what's a day in the life? And then we got there, just didn't ask any of that stuff. I was like, I want to come to your house. Like, I brought CDs, I brought pillows. Can we have a sleepover? What is your address? And he gave me some address. It ended up being a church. But no, but every time we asked to shoot at Kobe's house, there was like, no, they're not having cameras in there. And if they had cameras in the house, it's not you. Like, it's not your crew who's going to be in there. And when I did eventually see cameras in Kobe's house, it was a Christmas game. It was Lakers versus Cavs. I was like, oh, okay. Well, if it's ABC Christmas game, then okay, then I understand. Yeah. But for us being a little upstart from Canada, they were just like, no bueno. It's basically the reply in the email. No bueno. Subject line. No bueno. Nothing in the body.
So, like, walk us through how Cabbie became Cabbie. I mean, like, walk us through from, like, post-secondary to the score and then moving forward. How did you become Cabbie?
Sure. I went to high school in Cambridge, Ontario. So I was born in Toronto. We moved around a bunch. And then when I was in Cambridge, Will Smith was my North Star. So I just stole, and I've only met Will once. And I was so nervous to interview Will because, like, to me, Will's like, yo, this guy is, like, charm. Like, if you're doing creative player on any of it, like, the slider goes to 1 million for charm, and then comedy goes to a 1.5, and the mother bleeper is handsome. Like, all the sliders are to the right at max. And I don't know if you guys will ever do junkets, but junkets are weird because maybe they will still exist or maybe they won't. But, they have the film was called Focus, and I'll get to my origin story. It was Margot Robbie, Will Smith. I enjoyed the movie. It was like
I love that movie. Yeah,
it was like a cool spot in a heist, crime thriller heist. I don't know if it was a comedy. I think it's just like a crime thriller.
I think it has some comedy. It's a pretty funny movie. I mean, like when they're gambling with the football guy, and they're picking out all these little things.
Yeah. No, they went to a football game.
It was a football game, and he goes, I'll pick the number. It was the number in the end. And they had, it was what was that song? Woohoo! It's apparently 55 in Chinese, and they were like feeding him subliminal messages the entire night.
So I went to the junket to interview. So you get 4 minutes with, each star. Like they'll give you like 4 stars and like the director. So it's like, and as soon as you sit down, you introduce yourself, like the clock is going. And then someone is out in your peripheral, and they'll give you the wrap-up sign, so you're like, all right, and so I, in that moment, I didn't tell Will, I owe you thousands of dollars because I just been ripping off your material for years, bro. I'm watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at CBC at like 5 p.m., get home from school, and then it was at 5 or 5:30, but I was just like memorizing dialogue, and I would just say it to girls at school. I'm like, you've seen these shows too.
I've done this. I'm not gonna lie to you. It works. It actually does work.
Why are you laughing at these jokes that I'm telling worse than what you saw yesterday? But anyway, so I'm just a clown at school, and then the only time a guidance counselor helped me, I shouldn't say the other, maybe it's like 2 or 3 times, but one guidance counselor said, you should think about, you would be good in the TV program at Ryerson. And when I was in high school, we used to shoot terrible home movies. Like, we just loved making, like we shot like terrible, I say terrible because they were just super offensive, and just like we're like 15 years old. Somebody's parents would go away for the weekend. They're like, all right, my friend Henderson had a camcorder, and every summer we'd make a terrible mafia ripoff or like a talk show, very offensive, just stupid, just childish humor. But that was like weirdly like informing my desire to like make videos, make stuff. And there was no real path to get on TV as a Canadian. Like, we just had no idea. I didn't know anybody that was in television. We just watched it. So when the guidance counselor was like, you should think about the television program at Ryerson, now Toronto Metropolitan University, I was like, applied, got in. I wrote an essay, and I remember hearing like this program's like super competitive to get in. And there was probably a guy, I think I did actually meet a guy named Cabbie Richardson in my past, who I believe also applied for radio and TV at Ryerson. He's probably the person that should have got in, and I'm Cabbie Richards. And it should have been Cabbie Richardson. But anyway, I got it. And then once I was in my second year, I got an internship at the Score. At that point, it was called Headline Sports, and we were just writing scripts for the host. We write, like Arizona Diamondbacks versus New York Yankees, second inning. Luis Gonzalez hits a home run to right, 2-0 Arizona, and we'd give it to the host, and they would, like, Tim or Sid or whomever would add their flavor and their flair. And back then at the Score, it was very much encouraged to have your own personality, bring your own flavor to the highlights. And Tim and Sid made it an art form.
Well, Jerry D too is the same thing.
So Jerry, he wasn't on the desk, but he was another personality at the Score. And I love Jerry. He's like he's naturally very funny. And he's a comedian by trade too. Or not by trade, I suppose by trade. So Jerry and I had totally different. I was like loud, obnoxious, animated, and Jerry was very like he had the unearned arrogance of like a Will Ferrell type, but a sports reporter, and he was great. He was very, very sharp, and so I started in 2001, and I was just doing streeters, just harassing other people my own age. I went to Humber College. I went to York. I went to Ryerson, U of T, just trying to find people my own age to ask some stupid sports questions. And then after a while, about a year, I went to Sportsnet to host a magazine show called NBA XL, and I contributed on another magazine show called J Zone. And it's the first time I worked in more of a structured show. It was 30 minutes every week, and then I got to travel a little bit. And my first really big interview was with Pedro Martinez. I was working on J Zone. He was the Red Sox ace. I mean, came up with Montreal, won a Cy Young with Montreal, but he's really known for his time with Boston. And the bit was, I was like, what the bleep am I going to do with Pedro Martinez? So we got a speed gun, a radar gun at Skydome. I think it was Skydome back then, actually. And I challenged him to a throwing contest, and I said, we're going to throw with our lefts. And I'm right-handed. He's obviously right-handed. He throws like 99 with his right. He threw 60 with his left on the gun. I was like, what? I think 30.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, 60. Like,
you're
pretty straight, too.
You're half as good as it.
Yeah, with our terrible arms. So, and the next time I interviewed Pedro, bro, this guy was in the Red Sox clubhouse. This is how much of a bleeping G he was. My dude was in a clubhouse with 25 other grown men in like a leopard print silk robe in 2004. Jerry curl. Like I was like, what can you say to this dude? This is Pedro Martinez. And just like, it was super effeminate, but it was just like Pedro's swag. I was like, wow. I'm like, can you do an interview today after you disrobe and put on, your uniform, your 45 jersey and everything? And he's like, sure. So I got to interview him twice, and he was just wonderful. And that was like, so the one in 2003 was the first really big one for me in it. And I think because he was so cool about it, that just gave me such a jolt of confidence. And then further down the line, I got to interview more and more stars and build some cool relationships, and hopefully the audience enjoyed some of the bits that we did. So that's how it started. High school, obnoxious clown that ripped off Will Smith, and then later in university, it was interning at the Score, and then I got an opportunity to pitch to do a Man on the Street segment, and that's how it started.
That's amazing.
Thanks, man.
I remember I was a kid, and I would before school sit in front of the TV watching TSN, eating a bowl of cereal, and the Cabbie segments would come on. Me and my brothers be like, oh shit, we love this guy.
Thanks,
my older
man.
brother over today, I was like, yeah, we're doing our Cabbie interview today. He's like, we were talking about Cabbie on the street for 45 straight minutes.
Wow. Wow.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You mother bleepers were bored.
But this is what I'm saying. This is the impact that you had on kids. I'm 29.
Okay.
And this is the impact that when I say the name Cabbie to the Toronto friends that I have that grew up watching sports, they know the name Cabbie.
Thanks.
What impact do you think that you had or your segments had on the media spin today in Canadian media?
Well, I think the work that we did helped to pioneer what we now know as short form content. We didn't call it that at that time. We just said we're just doing these videos. We're just let's just go make fun videos. And luckily we got access to famous people, and whether it was me or helped us being Canadian. I say us, my man D, my producer Dave, and I. And I was like this chubby weirdo, and just I didn't look like a traditional journalist, quote unquote journalist, or uppercase J journalist. I was just asking about mixtapes and sneaker collections, girls, obviously, taco spots, like just asking questions about them personally and then mix in a little bit of sports. And the goal was always to crack them and try to make the experience so enjoyable so that next time they'll say yes when they return to town, or if we're on the road, then we can interview whomever. So that was a big part. So yeah, that's a big part of what we wanted to do. And as far as the impact goes, at the time that I started in Canada, I got to salute Darren Jones and Mr. Mo. These guys had a segment called The Buzz, and it was on Rogers, like Rogers Cable, like the Channel 4 or 10. And they would go out and they would do streeters too, and they would make fun of people, and that wasn't really my swag. And Rick Mercer had a segment called, I think it was Talking to Americans, where he would go to like American border towns and he asked Americans about Canadians, and obviously they don't know anything. So there was a lot of humor in the fact that they did not know their neighbors to the north. I also probably, not that our styles were at all similar, because this guy was super fearless, but Tom Green was doing the wildest ish on the streets of Toronto and Ottawa.
Legend.
I think it was also on Rogers before he went to MTV. And he was just doing like straight up, he may have predated Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass crew, or maybe
he did. Tom Green was the man, and he did it
before, in like the mid '90s, I think.
Yeah, before Jackass, for sure.
But I wasn't, I'm not taking a cow down Yonge Street and milking a cow and having a cow finish in my face. I'm not doing that kind of ish like Tom Green was doing. Like that guy was fearless. So maybe some of that confidence, informed me that I could just go be like the Red Bull soaked version of myself. So that helped. But certainly in sports, there was the only comparable segment that was on TV at the time was a guy named Kenny Mayne. He worked at ESPN, but his vibe was more Jerry D's. He was very straight, and he had a dry sense of humor, and he used to write dialogue I saw him once in Green Bay, and I was like, oh, that's how he works. So he'd give a guy a line, so the guy would deliver the line. It was always really funny, and then he would package it, and it would be on ESPN's football Sunday countdown show. But as far as a segment that involved like humor, personality, maybe some pop culture, Kenny Mayne was doing that at ESPN, and then I was doing that up here on The Score.
Good stuff.
Thanks, man.
It's cool to see you covered sports in Canada, covered sports in the U.S. What would you say is the biggest differences in terms of culture for those two countries?
Football, when I worked at Bleacher in Vegas, the sports that Bleacher Report cared about, this is the order: football, college football, NBA, college basketball, everything else.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Everything else. The only things that would pop, that would move the needle where Bleacher would cover it would be Tiger Woods, Conor McGregor, and Serena Williams. Those are the only three individual athletes that would, but like tennis majors, golf majors, hockey, baseball didn't even really resonate with Bleacher's audience. It was just football. It was just basketball. And obviously culturally here, hockey is the football of Canada.
Yeah.
And soccer's growing. Basketball is hot when the Raptors are hot. And then baseball, when the Jays are hot, people jump on board and it's a great vibe. And but yeah, that's football just overwhelmingly dominates in the United States.
It's cool to see how much the U.S. actually cares about their college sports. Like we were talking about before, they sell out stadiums.
Yes.
And we have trouble selling out Argos games.
Yeah, that's a
The
fact.
most winningest team in Toronto. The only team that wins anything is the Argos.
That's
no
a
one watches
fact.
them.
See, I think with American collegiate sports, like that fandom is generational. You could go to a college basketball game and see 3 generations of people in the same family.
Right.
Yeah,
So that heritage is really powerful in the United States, and that fandom is certainly passed down. And mothers and fathers want their kids to go to their alma mater. I had a conversation with David Amber 2 months ago, and he's got 2 kids that are going, and he got both of them to go to McGill, and he went to McGill.
Oh, nice.
And his wife went to I think Queens. No, maybe she went to McGill. But anyway, he convinced them. I think there was some discussion to go to Queens, which is like McGill. No, it's Queens. No, Queens and Western are the rivals. But anyway, his kids. So that's just an example of parents passing down their level of a particular school.
Okay.
And it worked in the David Amber household. Wonderful dude, by the way. Wonderful.
No, that's awesome. I do want to ask, so you mentioned how you guys were kind of the first ones making that short form content. Do we at all worry about the new generation of fans and they may be too into clips and highlights and betting rather than the actual sport? Or is this just the evolution of fandom?
It is the evolution of fandom now. I don't know if alphas, Gen Zs for sure follow the stars versus the sports. And I don't know, other than maybe you guys, I don't know dudes in their 20s that could sit down and watch a whole game.
That's all we do.
Oh my god.
Okay, so other than you guys, like, and the guys in your group chat, maybe that's another 8, 10, 12 dudes. Like, so much of our lives are experienced on our phones. So yeah, it is worrisome because eventually, like, people my age will age out, and then we'll be sitting in garages or basements, and we'll still watch full games, but there'll be fewer of us. And as far as like the alphas go, I was just talking to my niece a couple days ago. And she was telling me about some shows on Netflix that I've never heard of before because we've like a 30-year difference or 40-year difference between us. And she was mentioning something about the phone. I was like, man, she might watch. Oh, they were complaining about watching commercials on my brother downgraded the Netflix tier, so for like the 22, went down to the paid tier, which is like $8 or whatever, $10. So they were complaining about having to watch a minute of commercials at the beginning. And they never had to watch commercials before. I think maybe they had the paid version of YouTube, so you skip commercials altogether. But I was like, man, that was like my whole life was watching commercials. And we couldn't skip them when we were watching on TV. We just had to wait for 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
There's
and
no fast forward on.
No.
And then no phone.
Exactly. And I'm cheap, so I still have the unpaid YouTube. I have the free YouTube version. 100%. So the skip, that's probably the button that I hit the most in my life is skip ad. You know what I mean? Or what pops up halfway through or a quarter of the week, you just like, can't hit that button fast enough to get back to the show.
You even made a point on the last pod to say when you and Bree are watching a TV show, the minute that there's like a commercial or an ad or anything, they both just lay there on their phone.
You sit there and wait for 2 minutes. I'll be right now.
Fair, yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to change. Maybe with how much AI is going to dominate our lives, we'll need more shared human experiences. So maybe people will go to more concerts or live events and have more IRL experiences, maybe. And maybe part of that is are experiencing like events on having the shared experience with watching an event maybe through a screen, but maybe it goes the other way. But I don't know, man. I
can see that like that digital renaissance kind of thing coming on, like
your human renaissance. Like let's go back to like when Mother Bleeper was just going to the mall. And I don't even know if like kids go to the mall anymore because everything is just coming in an Amazon box like today. You know what I mean? So
I want to also ask, you've done a lot professionally, but we want to know kind of what experiences you've had that hit home for you. Some of your personal favorite experiences, highlights of your career.
Like around sports or
through sports?
Through sports.
It doesn't have to be a sports related, but we are a sports podcast.
Yeah. Well, some of the greatest games. When I had a conversation with my man D, Tim and I, Tim McAuliffe, we had drinks within the last few months. And I think DK's like, do you know what my favorite sporting event was? And I'm like, oh, the time we saw UCLA, USC, like Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love at UCLA. He's like, no. I'm like, Kobe, Game 7 versus Boston when we got to interview Kobe. He goes, no. I'm like, what? I'm like, were you at the bat flip game? He goes, no, not the bat flip game. Shout out to Jose Batista. He said, oh, and I said, oh man, when we were at the World Cup in South Africa, like we saw Ghana versus Uruguay and went to free kicks at the end. Uruguay won, and Uruguay went on to the final, and Ghana was like the last African team to be eliminated. He goes, no. I'm like, what? And he goes, we went, when I got to interview Usain Bolt, there was like, Jamaica has this like legendary yearly track meet for like high school kids. And we saw like one of the greatest comebacks in like 4x4 relay ever, like 16-year-old girls. And like, it's the girl who was like in 8th, just started eating up the track and like passing competitors. And then it was a two-person race down the final stretch, and the one who just held R1 for her whole friggin' lap caught the goal, and she won the place, like, it was just like this small track, but it was like the national whatever track meet. The crowd erupts in euphoria, and it was just like, it was one of the best moments, because it was myself, my cameraman, my man D, we're in Jamaica, and at this grassroots high school track meet, and there was some real theater and drama that happened there. So that was not that was really that informative for me, but it was a great moment where we're in another place, in another country, and just watching sports and just seeing the way that the community, galvanizes around one of these kind of moments. I'll say I got to run with the Bulls in Pamplona, Spain, and I think that was 2011, is it 12 or 13? It was always on our bucket list. And when we were at TSM, we got a yearly budget, and we had to identify like 10 pole events on the schedule. So like NHL All-Star Game, NBA All-Star Game, NHL playoffs, like Journey to the Cup, maybe a couple of football games. The Grey Cup was a 10 pole event. Like there was a few times on the calendar we're like, all right, we need to cover this. Or if there were some prominent Canadians in March Madness tournament, like Jamal Murray or Andrew Wiggins. I'm dating myself, but that was that era. Anyway, so we got to go to Spain and run with the Bulls, and so it's 8 days, and the participants running with the Bulls are American, British, Australian tourists, and a handful of Canadians. The local residents in Pamplona, Spain, who are watching the event out of their, apartment windows and watching this course, which is 800 meters from the bullpen to the stadium, which is where you have to get to. That's the goal. The Bulls are the heroes, and the idiot tourists are the villains. So whenever the Bulls are running over humans, the Spaniards are cheering like, yeah, El Salvador, Oscar, whatever, Manuel, Julio, whatever the frig the names of the Bulls were. Those mother bleepers were the heroes. I saw a dude. We ran it twice, and I saw a dude. So the first time I didn't make it into the stadium, I was just like too slow. And one thing I didn't consider was the speed of other humans. We started at what's called dead man's elbow. It's halfway through the course, and there's like a hard 90-degree turn. And some of the bulls will slip on the cobblestones because the road is wet. In the morning, they spray down all the beer and liquor and wine that just soak the streets from the night before partying from like tourists. They're out there, whatever. So it's wet. So some of the bulls slip, and I'm sure that just makes them angrier. And they're just like, why the bleep am I up at 8 running into this stadium? So the first time I was unsuccessful getting into the stadium. So I saw a guy fall because I was on the side, and I was just pinned against like a building while these bulls like ran past us, and then we kind of followed them to get into the stadium. I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna friggin' make it. Saw a guy fall, bam, face hits the cobblestone, and then I saw a bull step on his face, and I was like, man, and I just like I saw the dude, I was like, oh my gosh, and I just kept moving, like zero empathy on my part. I saw a dead mother bleeper.
That could have been me.
Could have been me, but I probably saw a dude die.
It gave you extra adrenaline.
Yeah, and sure, I didn't want to have that guy's fate, and I hope somebody woke him up, because if he closed his eyes, he wasn't opening them up again, because I was so violent. I was like, man, it just really strikes so much fear in your heart. And when we're waiting, there's so many people in this path, and the street's not that wide. It's like 12, 14 feet wide, and people are just kind of like jumping to like over other people's head just to see like when the bulls are coming, or when the crowd starts moving. Like when the crowd's moving, okay, these things are coming. Like there's 12 of them, and then then there's a big like swarm of people. Like, all right, get going, and then you just start sprinting, and you just run as fast as you can. I know I elbowed a guy in the face to get like because everybody runs at a different speed, and it's not like I'm fast, but I was just like taking mother bleepers out just so I can get into that stadium so I don't get run over by friggin' Alejandro the bull.
That's awesome. So we're all diehard Leaf fans. We're all diehard Raptors fans.
Okay,
we all
dope.
have 3 different football teams. We like to call
NFL
that
teams?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm Steelers, he's Eagles, he's Bills, and we like to call that our sweaty trinity.
Okay.
What is your sweaty trinity, or any teams that you root for any specific reason?
I like the Raptors. I'll root for the Jays, mostly because of like civic pride. I don't have a hockey team anymore, just because of working in television. I've been able to form some friendships with players and stuff. So I root for players versus teams. And the NFL, I got to like befriend a couple of guys, or like one dude. So I rooted for him, and I still root for him. Versus when I was younger, I was a Titans fan. It was weird. Nobody's a Titans fan. I'm a Titans fan.
Titans fans aren't even Titans fans.
My cousin's
Right.
a Titans fan. She pulled up to the house the other day with her Crocs on, and they have a bunch of Titans giblets. And I looked at her whole family Steelers fans. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I know one other guy, or two guys that are Titans fans. And I was like, how do we even become Titans fans? So yeah, I don't have a Holy Trinity, unfortunately. When I was younger, I used to root for Cleveland. It was my baseball team, and then Vancouver Canucks is my hockey team.
Yeah.
The Titans, and then what am I missing? Basketball. I used to be a Knicks fan when I was like 10, but then once the Raptors entered the league, then I switched allegiances. I'm like, this is the home team, so I'm going to rock with the Raptors.
Very nice. All right, well, with that, we can get into our weekly schedule. As always, some breaking news around our 3 leagues. First big title, Jaire Alexander is a Raven. Cabbie, we want to ask. It's alleged that Jaire had given up a couple of other deals. He had turned away other deals that were a little more lucrative. Do you think that could kind of play into team chemistry and kind of improve performance for the Ravens, especially on that defense?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have not done any reading about it. I just know he was a former Packer.
Yeah.
And I think there was a game. Last time I interviewed Aaron Rodgers, I did like a Jeopardy segment where I know this is the news. Sorry, I got to move it forward. I can't speak on the Jaire deal because I don't know what his stats off the top of my head, and how will that affect the defense? I'm not sure. Shoot, man, this is terrible. No. So I'm just gonna divert. I'm just gonna answer a question that I want to answer, which is kind of what you'll find that when you interview like hockey, like athletes and stuff. If they don't really want to ask you to answer the question you ask them, they'll just give an answer, and then you just have to kind of like roll. They're like, okay,
That's the answer you get.
yeah, exactly. And there was this was 2020. It was during COVID because it was here. He had COVID in like November, and I went in December. But anyway, I asked him about there was a win streak that the Packers, I think it was like 7 games or something like. They got hot towards the end of the season. And I think Jaire Alexander. No, it wasn't Jaire Alexander who had a couple of pick sixes. It was oh my gosh, it was and he said his teammate's name, Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas. That's how he said it. Anyway, so sorry, I have nothing to contribute. I like the Ravens, and I hope that Lamar Jackson. He's got 2 MVPs. I hope that he can win a couple of Super Bowls.
I don't.
No,
Me neither.
oh yeah, you guys are all AFC guys. Yeah. But it's like it would kind of be a crime if Josh Allen doesn't win one, Joe Burrow doesn't win one, Lamar Jackson doesn't win a couple. Like if Patrick Mahomes just eats everybody's food, which he can, because he's, to me, the best that's ever played, like the best, not the greatest. He doesn't have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning's resume, but just the way that he plays the position, he's like an elevated version of Aaron Rodgers to me, just with his arm strength, his accuracy. Doesn't quite have the Rodgers, I think, he's had like 400 touchdowns and like 85 interceptions. Like the touchdown interception ratio is gross. Anyway, if Patrick Mahomes just continues to eat the entire AFC and no other quarterback has a chance in the friggin' Super Bowl coming out of the AFC, it would be a bit of a shame.
It's a crime.
It's a crime. But, we would get to witness this incredible legacy. However, it's still like, you want to see some, and the NFL is a league with great parity. We're seeing in the NBA too. It's 7 straight years with 7 different champions. For those people who are like, sports are rigged, like, go bleep yourself. What's happening? Like, look at what's happening in the NBA. Like, nobody, not a single human alive predicted OKC versus Indiana. Like, not a single human.
No one.
So tell us how it's rigged.
And even the way that the Pacers have went through this, like, the run, they manhandled the Knicks, manhandled Cleveland.
And, like, the 15-point comebacks with, I don't know, 3 minutes left on the clock in the fourth, like, multiple times. Like, it's just insane. So, anyway, sorry, Jaire Alexander.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you guys. So, apparently he is Lamar's, they went to college together.
Oh, in Louisville. Okay.
Louisville, yeah.
So you guys think this will make a big impact for the Ravens?
I think he's still pretty locked. He's a good corner, man. He's locked down. He's strapped down.
Strapped down swords.
How old is he?
He's 28.
28.
Oh, okay.
He's still a young guy.
I think they have the best defense in the league now.
Yeah. They don't have Jalen Carter.
They had 4 All-Pros last year.
Yeah. Philly's defense is
Philly's defense is
gross,
really good.
bro. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. I said it was Bills, Steelers, Eagles. Okay, sorry. You're NFC. I'm sorry. I looked you guys.
No, I want to see Lamar win.
There's no blood this way. There's blood this way.
right. Okay.
CJ Mosley also retires after a 10-year career, which is interesting. I do want to do a little bit of a segment here called the Sweaty Impact. I have taken a few of the rookies who are on some of, I'll say, subpar teams, and I want you guys to tell me who you think is going to make the biggest impact.
NFL rookies?
NFL rookies.
Okay.
And so I'm going to pull it up on my screen right here. So the first one, you got Cam Ward and the Titans, which I think, in my opinion,
Kevin's like, fuck yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I used to root for the Titans. I've fallen out of love with the Titans, but I still like check on them.
Sorry, it's a bad time to be a Titans fan right now.
No, well, with Cam Ward, he could be ushering the new renaissance. Warren Moon said, "Yeah, you can wear my number 1." So that might be like that great juju for the dude.
Yeah, that'd be cool. He could bring a lot of talent there. I think a lot of people want to play with him. The other 5 that we have on the list, we have Ashton Gentry for the Raiders. Mm-hmm. We have R.J. Harvey, running back for the Broncos. Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback on the Jags. And, that's it. So it's the 4 guys. Who do you think can kind of have the biggest impact? I think there is a little bit of a narrative around running backs and that they kind of can't make that impact. I mean, that was the big thing with Saquon getting paid. And so...
I'll go. I'm just going to say Travis Hunter. I think anytime you can have a guy that's that good on both sides of the ball... It's
insane.
It's tough.
It's nuts. I mean, you want to go back to our conversation about watching clips. Like, I'm not a huge college football guy, but I watched, after the Jags took him, I watched him on both sides of the ball, and he is nuts. I've been watching Jags OTA highlights.
Wow. Wow. In the summer. Wow.
And, like, come on, man. I'm a huge golf and baseball guy, and I'm watching Jags OTA highlights on my downtime. Like, that's how good I think he's going to be.
What do you think? Or who do you think?
I like Genty. I think the Raiders haven't had a running back since, I don't know, Latavius Murray, who was actually decent. And just looking off his numbers in college, I think he's going to completely change the dynamic of the offense.
I hate the narrative that, like, running backs have been devalued because, like, how important was Derrick Henry to the Ravens last season? And obviously Saquon Barkley jumping over humans backwards.
Yeah.
Like, grown-ass men coming full clips. Like, he was... obviously a massive part of Philadelphia's success. So I hope that like teams revalue running backs at their proper level of production and importance to an offense, because you can't just pass 70 times. Joe Burrow's arm's going to fall. You know what I mean? Like, he can throw 70 times a game. Do you want him to throw 70 times a game? Or Josh Allen, like, guys with, like, big arms. Like, these guys, somebody's going to crush their sternum and whatever, but you got to keep the defenses honest, and you can't run a predictable offense.
Absolutely.
So
it's crazy the narrative around the running back. Like, you grew up on Eddie George at the Titans?
That's why I became a Titans fan, because I watched them at the Ohio State, and those were the games that we could see on Saturdays on ABC, and then Michigan Ohio State it's still
the
rivalry in college football. So that's how I became that great memory, or not memory, but like great. Picking that up.
I try to upgrade my football knowledge because I feel like that's the sport I know the least about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pre-2010.
nice.
And that's kind of the thing, right? Nobody watches football here. Like we said earlier, Argos are the winningest franchise in sports. And Toronto, I mean.
Well, no one watches CFL here.
Well,
they do well in the West.
But it's not big enough to create a culture around it where a lot of kids want to play the game and a lot of kids want... Not a lot of kids here have the dream to go to the NFL.
Are you sure? It's just I think the opportunity is... Well, look, we have We have the Chase brothers, Sidney Chase and Chase Brown. Sorry, the Brown brothers from London, Ontario. We have Jesse Lucchetta from Montreal, who plays with Arizona. We have Neville Gallimore, who was with the Cowboys. I think maybe with the Dolphins. I can't remember. And we have Chuba Hubbard out of Edmonton, Alberta. Balling with Carolina, got a new deal. And I know I'm missing. Javon Holland with Miami, who was played in, or I think his dad played for the BC Lions. I know he was he's a West Coast guy.
Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer with the Chargers. Yeah, receiver with the
Bills now.
Oh, okay. Shoot, my off season.
Don't disrespect the Bills.
My bad. My alerts. I need to re-engage my notifications before I'm slipping here. So wait, who's the rookie that you think will make the biggest impact?
Mine's Cam Ward. I mean, I just think quarterback. It's even we saw it with who was it?
Bo Nix.
Oh, I was gonna say I just wanted to use the idea that a quarterback can kind of command everything, even for a running back, someone that maybe doesn't need the command of a QB. You see how when a good QB comes in there with a level head, he can command an offense even for the running game.
McDaniels in your division?
Jaden McDaniels is a good one. I'm trying to think. I forget who it was. Maybe it was the Steelers with Najee, and they had Russ or
countless
Trubisky. Yeah, and it was just it was Kenny Pickett. That's what it was. It was Kenny Pickett with Najee, and I was saying that Najee can never really flourish under Kenny Pickett because you have a quarterback who kind of can't command the offense. He can't read the defense, and he can't make these open calls for his running back to hit the holes.
That was a puzzling one that Najee didn't really have that much success with because he was great in college, and I was like, oh man,
he was so good.
I've lost so much money on Najee. just betting over 79.5 yards. Like, come on, dude.
It's like 77.
He's hit 1,000 every year of his career. Michael loves to look at us and go, how many times has Alvin Kamara had 1,000 yards? Never.
He hasn't?
Never. Not rushing. Not rushing.
Okay, but he's all-purpose. Got to be 1,200, 1,300. Because he was didn't one game he have 5 or 6 touchdowns in a game? Just whoever had him in fantasy was just eating. Yeah. That boy was
50 points.
Yeah.
But then Michael looks me in my eyes and goes, you know who has? Najee Harris. 4 times in a row.
I'm with you. Cam Ward, I think, will have the of that group. Travis Hunter is obviously will have the he's the highest ceiling because he can play both positions, and then at some point he's gonna be all right, man, let me just play one of these motherfuckers. It's I'm so friggin' tired, and they will need to manage his snaps because they want this
100%.
kid to be
it's not like an Ohtani where he's every 5 days he's pitching and then he's hitting 6 days a week.
But different sport though.
Different sport, but I'm talking impact on both sides of the ball.
Right. Oh, have you seen him in real life? Ohtani's much bigger than you think.
I saw him last year in Toronto.
This mother.
He's massive.
He
would have to duck here.
Yeah, he was in the tunnel at Rogers, and they've built another batting cage just in the middle of the event level. Weird, but this guy's whap. I'm like, oh shit. So and there's around the corner what the fuck. What's making them I didn't know they had another batting cage just in the middle where the trucks and the equipment go. Here's this dude just oh my gosh, that's Shohei. And I was kind of nerding out man, I don't want to stare at it too much because he catch me out of his peripherals who's this fat black guy just sweating, just glazing me from a distance. What's happening here? And then when I went to LA, and I was on the field close to him. I'm I got to appreciate the size of this guy, 6'4", and it obviously just launches friggin' home runs into LAX onto the friggin' tarmac from Dodger Stadium because he's just a absolute unit. So yeah, that thus concludes our NFL talk.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. So there's something a little what's the word? Provocative that
about?
We do.
It is.
I was going to say we do it on our podcast.
Oh, okay.
Every time we finish a segment.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We finish a segment and we milk it. You don't have to join if you don't want to.
Wait, that
Feel
clip
free.
of those what was it? Did you guys see that meme where the outfielders in a college game? They did the whatever,
yes.
whatever.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then they saw him bobbing on it.
But we don't
No
actually
bobbing,
do the
no
ball.
bobbing.
We just milk it.
I'm sorry.
And you can just watch this time. We know you're an
I'll
amateur milker.
just, you know what? I'm just if I'm at a Diddy party, I just want to observe. I don't want to participate. Let me just see what's going on.
NFL. You've been milked.
Okay.
That's it. Then we take it to that NHL.
That absolutely was some Diddy-ish right there. You've been milked? Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm in the right place.
It's that Tom Green with the cow going down.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, good callback.
Panthers, like Drake, go back to back. What a wagon, man. What a wagon of a team.
That is the blueprint of a hockey team.
Like,
The ideal hockey team, that's what you should build off of.
and the scary part is they could do it again.
They will do it again.
They'll probably
will.
sign 2 of the 3. Ekblad, Marchand, and who's the other?
Bennett.
And Bennett. Oh, Bennett's going to get paid. Deserved. Earned every dollar he's going to get. Man, yeah, they could do it again. And again, do you know what the rating was in the local Florida market for Game 6?
Like 3% of the country watched it, right?
It was at
Or the
3% of the market.
Of the
So
market,
a 3 share. That's what? I was like, I bet in Edmonton it's 97%. Actually, 99% of the residents of Edmonton, or probably the whole, actually not the province, because I live in Calgary, Alberta, and there's a legit blood rivalry between the two cities, because people in Calgary call Edmonton Deadmonton, and I don't know what people from Edmonton call Calgary, but like Calgary's like, we have all
Losers.
the money. We're like, yeah, right. But so I have in one of my group chats, one of my good friends who's from Calgary is like, I didn't have experience as much joy as I thought I would watching the Oilers lose. Who's a guy who's born and raised in Calgary. I was like, yeah, well, you just see the shot of Leo and Connor on the bench. Like, you feel for these mother bleeps because you know how badly they want it. And those are the two of the 4 or 5, 2 of the 4 best hockey players on the planet, and they're on the losing side.
And they've been back to back, and they may not go again. Who knows?
Yeah,
They might not.
So I was going to ask, like, 1, what does it say for McDavid's legacy? And 2, is their window closed? Because...
No, what do you mean? Like, you think his legacy is affected?
Well, he's been to the finals twice now, and he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, but he has 3 MVPs.
True. Sid, on the other hand, though, went against who?
He lost
Red Wings and then beat
09, and so he lost
And he
to
beat them
Detroit when he
back.
was
I'm just
20.
talking about for that GOAT status, because like you said, everyone's so quick to throw the word GOAT around to move from GOAT to GOAT. And so, does this kind of change that?
No, but you can... No, man. He's already cemented as, like, one... I don't know, probably in the top 25 or 20... Probably top 20 already. And I think he's either at 1,000 points or he's on the verge of 1,000 points. Has he hit 1,000 points? And he's, what is this, year 7 or 8 for the guy? Like, the guy is electric. My guy plays with R1 held down the whole time. As soon as he touches the puck, you can just, the eye test will tell you. My mom could watch hockey and be like, oh, that player is better than the, look at the way this mother bleeper is moving around the zone. And it's just, he's, and then obviously if he's on a breakaway, then there's no chance. You have to jump at his feet. Like you might as well try to throw your stick at his shoulders or something, throw it into his skates to trip him up because he's going to score or more times than he's not. But as far as we shouldn't really talk about his legacy yet. Like he still has probably 12 more years, and 7 or 8 of those at elite. What is he? 26, 25 or 26? He's in his mid 20s.
Yeah, I think he's like 27.
And the way he's a psycho in like training and stuff, like if he does not get hurt for the next 7-8 years, this guy he's putting his name at the top of he's putting his name in the top 5 of like the most important.
He's the most skilled player to ever
He is
play.
the most
I think
talented
that's
hockey player of
cemented.
all time. I don't think there's any other hockey player who can take on 5 dudes on his own. I forget what team he played. He did
New
against
York,
Leafs too. Yeah.
New York was one.
Columbus, he's done
And
it.
he
Yeah.
literally just and then rifles it on Shesterkin.
Man, the most skilled
My goat's Crosby. That's my goat.
Yeah.
That's my goat.
Same.
Yeah, Sid's unbelievable. And Sid has missed, like, he's played 200 fewer games than Ovi. 200 because of concussions. That's 3 full seasons. And Sid is like, I think, close in points to Ovi.
He's got more than Ovi.
Oh, just more than Ovi? Well, not goals.
Not goals. Not goals.
Man, I lost so much money on that. I bet David Amber stupidly one day we're drinking tequila and my fat mouth is just popping off. I'm like, there's no way he passes Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky? Like, no chance. Like, Ovi was like 36 or 37, like this. And I was like, he's going to pass. I'm like, no. And we made a bet and I lost it. So I really owe him a trip to Vegas. We're like, all right, you and I, Vegas, like, let's go spend
That
some
sounds
money.
like a fat deal.
It was a lot of money. The check that I wrote has some zeros on it, and he's not going to cash. He's like, yeah, you're not giving. Let's just go out for a nice dinner. And I'm like, thank you, but I know in my heart.
You're gonna go to Harbor 6. He'd be like, "Wow, that check's equivalent to the bill."
This could be like 3 checks.
So wait, do you guys think Connor's legacy is either affected or changed because he's lost in the finals twice?
I've never been of the mindset that championships define a player's legacy. So no.
That is a nuanced take that is very rare for a sports fan.
I don't believe that. Just like I think one of the greatest basketball players of all time is AI, or one of the greatest hockey players of all time is Joe Thornton. Just because they've gotten there and didn't get it done doesn't take away Charles Barkley. Some of the greats have never won. You know how hard it is to win?
Yeah, I'm looking at...
Especially a Stanley Cup. That is the hardest trophy to win.
I absolutely agree with you what you said. He's too young for this to be his legacy yet, and he has time. I do think you need at least one under your belt. Because the thing is, he's playing with Draisaitl. You have 1A and... Well, 1 and 2. I was going to say 1A and 1B, but you have the best hockey player and the second best hockey player on the same team. Plus a pretty outstanding supporting cast. Goaltending is shaky at times.
But blue line's a little shaky too.
I mean, Bouchard is going to get a bag.
Swiss cheese.
Yeah, Bouchard is going to get a bag.
Bouchard's going to get a bag. You have Ekholm out there. Nurse has been good for the tenure that he's been there. Like, they had a cast to do it. And coming from a team who supports or a bunch of people who support a team that are choke artists, I'm seeing a little bit of this. I'm seeing some reminiscent trends, and that's kind of Marner's legacy in Toronto.
Okay, so before, I mean, this will be published before July 1st. Where do you guys think Mitchie ends up?
Just pick a team. I'm going to say he's going to go to Vegas on a 4-year deal, and then he'll, like a Matthews, he'll set himself up for a 7 or 8 year deal for the next contract when the cap is like $150 million.
I was originally saying Utah when we knew that he wasn't going to come back, but I think I'm going to switch now and say Florida as well.
Really?
I think Florida's going to load up, eh?
I think Florida
I think they let one of two of Ekblad or Bennett walk, or Marchand probably, and just use that money to sign Marner.
And I mean, a lot of these guys also want to take hometown deals. Bennett was sitting there with his dad on the balcony in Florida with the cup, and everyone's chanting 8 more years. He's probably he can take it 8x8.
That means nothing, man. They did it with Kawhi when he won.
Yeah, but Kawhi don't want to be here.
Yeah, true. Kawhi's like, I need to go back to California.
Calgary, he won his chip, and he was like, "No, I'm not staying in Toronto." But
that's interesting with
How about
Mitchie.
you, Cabbie? Where do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm terrible at predictions. I'm not sure that I've ever had one correct prediction in my life.
Well, I mean, look at your bet with David Amber. Like,
Yeah, that was so stupid. It's like, no, none of Gretzky's records will fall. 0 of them. The biggest one.
the untouchable.
The
record.
untouchable one fell. I mean, maybe 8. What is he? 7 or 8 Hart trophies in a row probably won't fall, but here I am, fucking, drinking like, oh.
you want to bet on it?
yeah, right. Like I'll
bet
bet
you
my
it's just
house
in Vegas.
next time. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I went one time with quick Vegas story with Norm Powell. His birthday is it's in February, and I hit up Normie, and Norm was like, "Yo, where you at?" I'm like, "I'm here. I live in Vegas." He goes, "Come meet up." I'm like, "Cool." We go to Dre's and get to the booth. So Dre's is like, it's on like the 4th or 5th, no, maybe it's like it's a rooftop across from Caesar's Palace. I can't remember the name of the hotel that it's in, but Dre's is like the hip hop club in on the Strip, and he's got a booth very close to the stage, and that night Wiz Khalifa was performing. I was going ham because I got there late. So here's the thing: when I know Norm, his boys were cool. There's like 6 dudes in the booth, including me, and then there's like 9 girls. So I'm like, okay, so I don't know what the dynamics are in the thing. So I'm just gonna drink. Because I'm like, I don't want to talk, like, I don't know if his boy Andre is like, yo, why are you talking to the girl that I brought to the thing, blah, blah, blah. Because I wasn't there at the pre to see what the relationships were.
Yeah, who's with who.
Or if, like, everybody's like, all right, it's, if it's like, oh, it's a bachelor party, and, oh, where's the bachelorette? Oh, she's in the bathroom. Anyway, so I wasn't there for that part. So anyway, man, so after Dre's and we go to, I think we went to Sapphire. Normie, I probably shouldn't be telling this story. I don't know.
It's a no holds bar podcast, so it's up to you.
I know, but do I want this on the internet forever?
A sweaty exclusive.
Anyway, Normie was very generous in how much he wanted us to have fun at Sapphires, which is like an adult playground, and And you come out of there, there's a certain like butter on your skin when you leave. Like there's, like you go into the light and you're glistening, and you're like, oh, there's. You just and there's a fragrance of those places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So anyway, Norma came with like bricks of here, like in your chest, like we're not leaving until you spend all of this. I'm like, okay, homie, and then you feel like a baller. You're just throwing around ones or whatever, doing this kind of shit. Very generous dude, Normie. Salute, good dude. I actually have done Vegas twice with that dude for his birthdays in February. Gee, you said Vegas, Mitchie, Vegas. That's how we got to Vegas. Right. That's the connection.
It all started with Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
Ended with Norm Powell.
Yeah.
The city respects Norm more than they do Mitch.
Mitchie, man, what a tough. Anyway, I feel for Mitchie, man. The dude is like so like. He's a top 5 dude.
Literally.
And just like he's just so much. I mean, yes, you have to play with pressure, but like some guys, Stamkos never wanted to play here. Like go live on the beach, show up to work in flip flops, homie. Live a great life in Florida, have a massive house, pay no state tax, like just and you assemble this incredible team that goes to the finals 3 years in a row, wins a couple of cups. His legacy is cemented, 2-time champ, and Rocket Richards. I think he won the Hart the year that he scored 60. He must have.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, Mitchie, I feel for Mitchie. I think he's a phenomenal talent and just gets a bit of a raw deal, but that's
sports.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Where's he going? Where's Cabbie?
Oh, I don't know. Again, he's going to Chicago. Like I have no idea.
You're gonna get this one.
Darden and Marner teaming up. I like it.
No chance. What do I know?
All right, boys. I mean, that is the biggest news. NHL is. We're coming up to the deadline, and the draft is coming up soon. We noted that last week.
We're gonna have a draft show. We're gonna have a free agency show.
Nice, man. Nice.
So NHL, you have been.
Mills. All right, Cabbie, one more shot at the NBA to milk it. Let's see what you got.
So OKC takes Game 5. Halliburton goes down with it. Hamstring or
calf
strain?
Calf
Strain. Can they get it done? Can the Pacers push a Game 7?
He's playing tonight.
Is he playing tonight?
He's playing tonight.
Okay, so by the time people see this, they will have seen. They know the result of the NBA final.
What the final is, yeah.
I think they get it done.
Wait, who? Thunder and 6? Oh, Pacers push a Game 7?
I really want the Pacers to win, mostly because of Siakam.
Oh, dope.
But
that's dope.
I don't know. I'm not a Kings fan per se, but I really like Sacramento Kings, and I love Halliburton. And when they traded him, it really sucked. And now they're like, "Oh, we're looking for a point guard," and you traded 2 All-Stars. But
yeah, De'Aaron Fox is now gone.
Yeah, he's balling with Wemby.
I think OKC closes it out. I think that's the easy take, but.
Are they on the road? Is this in Indiana?
It's in Indiana.
I think the Pacers can get it done.
Wow, what?
Halliburton's clutch, man.
But he's not 100%.
Doesn't matter. That's
in the
matters.
NBA Finals, he has not scored from the left side of the floor.
That's a crazy
Only
stat.
scored from the right side of the floor. From the foul line across, he has not scored from the left side.
He doesn't have a left.
I don't know what that has to do with maybe they're just pushing him left now. He doesn't score left.
that's crazy.
Yeah, now that I think about
Watch tonight. You only see him drive the right side, and if he goes to the left, he misses.
huh?
I just want to say to you, like to a lot of the clutch players, like Bergeron when they won the cup, punctured lung, broken rib, bruised femur, whole list of injuries. When these guys go down, when there's turmoil, you pray that the most clutch guy can take it out and kind of rise to the occasion. That's what I'm hoping for. I do want Shea to win as well.
Wait, but you want just the 7th game?
I want the 7th game.
Oh, okay.
I love
just
Game
don't want
7.
sports to be done.
I only want Shea to
Fair
win.
enough.
That's the big thing. I want Shea to win just because he's Canadian. Bring it home. He's the next.
There's a couple Canadians on Indiana too. Andrew Nebhard and Benedict Mathurin.
Yeah.
And then there's Lou Dort and SGA on the other side with OKC. I think Thunder and 6. Like this OKC team is so deep. They play relentless defense.
Best defense in the league.
Yeah.
They had the best point differential. These I think OKC and Indiana had the best records after January 1st, and so it makes sense that they're meeting in the finals. But SGA is he is so smooth, and he doesn't he just doesn't seem phased, and he's so friggin' talented. And these guys, did he have 4 or 5 steals in Game 5? The whole squad
Some absurd number.
can do and just create turnovers, and then boom, they're off on the break. And I think it's SGA's time. He won an MVP. He was a runner-up last year. Won the MVP this year.
Finals MVP.
Like just finish one of the greatest single seasons in the history of the game.
Fair.
For sure.
And the cherry on top is he's Canadian.
Yes, absolutely.
If he wins Finals MVP, is that secures legacy over Nash as the greatest Canadian player? Nash did go back-to-back, but Nash did not win a title.
That's right, yeah.
He didn't even go to the finals, did he?
No, never went to the finals. Well, Nash said, I think maybe after the first season he also was averaging 30 a game. This is the third straight season. He's averaged 30 a game.
Great efficiency.
In the NBA, yes.
He scored a quarter of his team's points every game, basically, from 3 years ago to now.
Yeah, which is insane. I would say so. And SGA is... I mean, he's going to be the first NBA player to get $100 million in a year playing basketball, which is...
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean...
It's baseball money. It's crazy.
It is baseball money. Like Shohei, Mike Trout, Juan Soto...
Judge.
Yeah, like Giancarlo Stanton. Like some of these mother bleepers, baseball money is ridiculous. Obviously, when the Shohei and Soto are getting like $750 million, like all guaranteed. Like that's
all guaranteed.
Anyway, Thunder and 6. Let's go. And by the time you guys see this, you'll know. Like, Cabbie's wrong again. Like it went to 7.
He knows the 3 was a trip to Vegas.
The sweatiest trip to Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll invite Norm Powell. Just get bricks.
But I'm not giving you guys bricks of cash. I owe Amber a brick, and unless we're there at the same time as Normie's there, then maybe we can have. Normie, do you have 2 more of those?
I'll share, bro. I'm not complaining. If OKC wins, is this the start of their dynasty?
Dude, they have 7 first-round picks in the next 4 years.
It's over. I mean, like this is.
No. It's so no. I don't think. Man, we thought that about Boston. Boston.
Fair enough.
That's true.
And like Tatum and Brown were like 25 or 26. I'm like, all right, this is the start of their dynasty, and like obviously Tatum blows his Achilles. Like anything can happen, but as we've seen with the NBA, there's 7 different champions over the last 7 years, so it's even harder to repeat as a champion. It's possible, obviously, because Sam Presti just accumulated a war chest of assets of draft capital, but also like Jalen Williams, J-Dub has to get paid.
Yeah,
SGA's gonna get paid.
Chat's gonna get paid.
So then there's Lou Dort. Like, hey, who's checking for me? Like he's an important part of their offense or their team. So like some pieces are obviously gonna have to move because. There's like I think this year the new CBA kicks in, and there's and effectively a hard cap.
Yeah.
So
because there's a percentage on the luxury tax, it's like a penalty, right?
Yeah, there was like a second apron, but I think which was like a kind of a hard tax, but I can't remember what the change is, but it's more like a hard tax like a hard cap like you see in football, and hockey also has like a hard cap too. Yeah. So that's obviously going to affect the economics of what teams can do.
I mean, we love that, though. I love a hard cap, just solely for, like, the balance of the league. I mean, the NHL, it's kind of really hard to build super teams unless you got guys that want to take friendlies. In the NBA, we've seen they're chasing after, like, they tried to build a super team in LA. KD's kind of, like, didn't start it, but you have all these super teams throughout history, and now kind of with that cap, brings that back in. Everything's reined in.
It's all an even playing field.
Right? And I don't remember the last time the NBA has been this balanced.
It's great, though. You want to see this.
The East is competitive. The West is competitive. It's a good time to watch basketball.
It is.
Agreed.
Lakers with one of the most expensive sale of a team ever at $10 billion.
Yeah, the valuation of the team, $10 billion.
Yeah, it was the Dodgers owner. Talk about baseball money.
Yeah, that private. I think Guggenheim is the name of the asset company that he either owns or he's the CEO of. Yeah, that dude's got B's in the bank, and he bought. I think I saw Bill Simmons tweet this. He owned 27% before that he bought for 1.2, and then he's getting controlling shares up to 75%, and that chunk is worth if it was 1.2 before, it was like 4 billion or something. So it's something like that. So the 75%. I guess is the equivalent. So I guess it's 7.5 billion because the team is valued at 10 billion. So whatever adds up to 7.5 is now the stake that he has.
Number.
Well, the Buss family bought the Lakers for $67.4 million, and now they're selling them for $10 billion.
Good time to cash out.
Talk about ROI. That's like,
Mark Cuban cashed out for 4 point something. Jeannie Bush. And,
like, that's beyond fuck you money. That's like fuck you for 6 generations.
It's a lot of FUs.
I want to ask you, Cabbie, in your experience, has the ownership of a team really changed the culture all the way down to the court and the players on the court? Do you think we could kind of see that, like a little bit of a culture shift? I mean, Shanahan did it for the Leafs with Legends Row and repairing everything, all the relationships with alumni, kind of made it a place that people wanted to play. I mean, not that LA is not a place you want to play. Everyone wants to be a Laker, but do you kind of think that there could be that kind of change?
I said his name a few minutes ago, Mark Cuban. When he bought Dallas, he was like a super fan of basketball, and he was the first to really lean into giving the players like everything they wanted. The guys had like PlayStations in their lockers and stuff, and he wanted to make it a really player friendly environment. And they eventually won in 2011, but I think he bought the team in 2000 or 2001, 2002 or something like that. And he was one of the most visible owners in sports. And his team was eventually like successful in that winning a championship, not just success in the regular season or whatnot and selling out the building. But I know there's a more recent example of an ownership change. Maybe I can't remember when Joe Lacob bought the Golden State Warriors. I wonder if that was around the time that Mark Jackson, he was let go as coach, and then Steve Kerr took the job. Like I think it's kind of mid-teens.
Yeah, it was 2010. July 15th.
Oh, okay, 2010. Okay, so it was. I mean, okay, so it's like 5 years before they won their first. And I think even before. I think Steph was drafted in 2009 or 2010. So it's like I can't think of a better example than Mark Cuban off the top of my head, where the ownership has led to a culture change. I'm sure there are in the front office, the culture comes from the top down, and that gets to the players in whatever way it does. But culture for a team really lies with the players.
Right.
Like the players establish the unwritten rules, like what the young players, the rookies, what their expectations are from the vets, how to be professional. Like that's really established with the players first, and then the coaches, and then accountability for your actions in-house, on the road, or whatever. So so maybe organizationally you hear of cultures which are like toxic or poisonous, like Robert Sarver, who was the former owner of the Phoenix Suns, and he was like a notoriously cheap owner, and that apparently wasn't a great organization to work for. Before Donald Sterling with the LA Clippers, Jim Dolan. I've never heard one person say a positive thing about Jim Dolan, the way he's running the New York Knicks.
Did you hear that conspiracy about why the Knicks were so successful this year? Because he built the Sphere. So all of his time and attention was focused on the Sphere, so that the Knicks operations could run like an actual team.
Wow.
And the Knicks go to the conference final, and now that the Sphere's built, they fire Thibodeau. They probably going to trade Cat. Like, now that team's going to go back to mediocrity.
Wow, that's a pretty good theory, and he's a big music guy. But yeah, if you divert his attention to other projects, and that was like $4 or $5 billion to construct that Sphere, and it was like a pilot for like other. They one in like the UAE, and then one in like Singapore, like these super rich countries that you can build these incredible venues in. That's a pretty. I would believe that theory.
There's some validity to it for sure.
As soon as he comes back, they fire the coach. We just came into the conference finals, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, but
Tibbs is different. It's
Tibbs. I think the players are kind of skating on that one because it hasn't. Where did I hear this? I don't think I read it in The Athletic, but there was like something I heard about like the players. He kind of lost the room, and he'd been there for 5 years, and that seems to be like the life cycle of a coach. Michael Malone was fired in Denver. He'd been there for 10 years. Who was the coach with the Memphis Grizzlies? He was fired this year too. I think there comes a point.
Well,
I mean,
Adrian Griffin when they fired him in Milwaukee.
No, but that was like after like 3 months.
And then they bring in Doc Rivers.
Yeah. And those guys were like, yo, this defense is too intense. Because Griffin came from Nick Nurse, and like with the Raptors, like, yo, this is how we used to guard Giannis.
Yeah.
This is how we were. This
is how we beat him. This is how we beat
come
him.
back from 0-2 in 2019, and then win 4, and then go to the NBA Finals. So anyway, Jim Dolan. I've never heard a good thing. And also, like, I mean, Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, there's an owner who has his fingerprints on everything to do with that team, and like that team has not found any success since before you guys were born.
Yeah.
I don't think any of you guys were alive when the Cowboys won their last title in '96. Nope. Were you alive?
I was born in '96.
Okay, yeah. So you were breathing.
Your birthday's January? Yeah. So you would have been there, maybe like right at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I will give some credit to Jerry Jones because I read today that he upped the wages of the cheerleaders. So
yeah, because
maybe it's a
they're
start.
on Netflix, bro.
He gave them 4 times their salary.
Oh, he did?
He gave them 4 times their salary because they're on Netflix.
But he won't pay Micah Parsons.
Interesting. Well, good. I mean, good for the ladies. They're icons.
Get their bag, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking about coaching, Ime Udoka agrees to a long-term extension, which makes him one of the highest-paid coaches. Would he be the highest-paid, or is the number out yet? Do we know?
No.
I haven't seen it, but
Into it.
who's the highest paid right now? Would it be?
It was Kerr for a long time.
Yeah, he had Monty Williams before he got.
It was in Detroit.
Yeah, he had like 8 mil or
After
9
the Suns
mil.
fired him, he'd be like, he's on like 8 years, like 60 million or something.
Something like that. Yeah, he got
the Mike Babcock deal.
Right.
It was like almost 10 million a year.
Yeah, that's Steve Kerr's getting $17.5 million a year.
I wonder what Pop is just retired from coaching, right? He's now the GM.
I can tell you.
Pop
right
was
now.
getting. He was
Did you hear that story about DeJounte Murray?
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Pop is the man.
The man.
He is a player's coach.
So for people who haven't know the story, tell the story.
So DeJounte Murray's mom got shot.
Correct? In
And-
Seattle, in his rookie year.
Yeah, and Greg Popovich said that he would pay with his own money to bring her to San Antonio to like recover and like live there
Without DeJounte knowing. He was
Yes.
doing this behind the scenes to try to get her out of
100%.
that situation and have some stability for DeJounte while he's in San Antonio.
Doesn't that scream like I love my players? I would do anything for them out of his
run through
own
a
pocket.
brick wall for him.
Yes, he makes a lot of money, but he's paying to fly her here for the hospital, for the recovery.
It's
for,
the thought on top of all of it, right? It's the fact
Yeah, great human. Only like a great human, empathetic human would do that. Like,
100%.
and someone who cares about his
and
players.
doing it behind Murray's back, so like the media wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Like no one would pick up on that and be like, "Look at me, I'm Greg Popovich, I'm the fucking man." Nope.
yeah,
All quiet, hush hush. It comes out on a podcast.
that's right. That's right.
Popovich was making $17 million. Before
Okay,
But
yeah.
it turns out Ime Udoka will be the highest paid, allegedly.
Wow.
The numbers isn't out yet, but they're saying long-term contract. highest
Great
salary.
coach, man. And Houston has I mean, if Kevin Durant is flirting with San Antonio, Houston, those are the teams I've heard that he's interested in playing. Miami. I don't know why he would go to Miami. Like, I mean, I know why he would go to Miami, but like to play, you're gonna win with Bam and Tyler Hero. Like, I don't know.
Probably not.
No, definitely not.
No, and a washed-up Terry Rozier.
Right. Ime, he's a great coach. I mean, great coach.
See what that young team can do in the
Yeah,
future.
they accelerated the rebuild. They were second or third in the West this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were garbage
Fred,
for a long time.
Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green,
Shingun.
Shingun, Amen Thompson. We're missing one. Oh my gosh, missing another significant player. Anyway, yeah, they have a great coach. Shingun is. I mean, they call him like they don't call him Baby Jokic, but he's Jokic.
He is Baby Jokic.
Jokic light.
Esque. Yeah. Light. Yeah.
LITE, light.
Yeah. Did you guys see there's a photo of of Jokic that just was on social like a few days ago, living his best life, shirtless, dad bod, best player in the NBA, like what 1A.
Yeah.
I mean, this season his numbers were astronomical, like just stupid.
Every week, 40 points, 20, 20, 20.
It's like just gross. And
It's like
it
when they won, they were like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" He's like, "I want to go like race my horse."
race my horses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
job's done.
yeah, that's it.
Let's
Like,
take some time
I
off.
want to get out of here, go back to Serbia,
And
and,
then he
get
went to
away
the
from you,
parade.
mother bleepers.
Then he went to the parade and everything changed. He was like, "Oh, I'll stay around for a little bit."
Yeah, I do like these checks. Like, yeah, they're heavy, bro. There's zeros on those mother bleepers. Like
How does
before the
55
period.
million a year sound, Mr. Nicola?
No doubt.
Stephen A., Markieff Morris, and PK Subban had this conversation on the ESPN show. I forget what it's called. It's not coming
Get
to
Up,
mind.
no?
I think it's Get
Or
Up, yeah.
First Take. I think it was they were on Get Up.
They were on Get
I
Up.
think they were on Get Up.
Okay.
And they were talking about what sport requires the most athleticism. And one thing that I want to clarify here, because I think it does get a little misconstrued when this conversation comes up, there's a difference between athleticism and talent. In my mind, it's soccer. No sport takes the amount of running.
We're talking about sports.
That's a leisure activity.
Well, I mean, those motherfuckers they're running like
I'm not a soccer
15 or 17K a game. Like it's wild.
I'm not a
Sprinting
soccer guy
a lot of the time.
I'm not a soccer guy either. I really can't sit down and watch a soccer game, but I can appreciate the athleticism that it takes. And I mean, their conversation was more based around hockey versus football or basketball. Sorry. And so, what do you think?
I think football.
Yeah.
I think because the humans are the largest, and you're having like head-on collisions every play. Obviously in the trenches you are, but you're jumping or hitting someone every play, and with like maximum effort. And it's if you take out all the stops, then the length of the game is 7 or 8 minutes of actual game time. But the pain you're either enduring, you're absorbing, or you're delivering has got to be insane. And also, like, have you seen Myles Garrett, bro? Or Aaron Donald? Like,
Freak athletes at such huge
these
sizes.
guys have superhero. DK Metcalf is a superhero. Yeah. His body is made out of marble. Like, he's from Krypton. And they just delivered here as a baby. It landed somewhere, wherever the bleep he's from. The guy is like 6'4", like 3% body fat, and runs like a gazelle. Who stopped? Remember that clip where he, like, Buda Baker got an interception, and he's just like sprinting and
chugging,
and he's 5'8", and even Buda Baker is like, hella fast, and he could deliver some blows. Yeah. Remember, like, Cam Chancellor on the Legion of Boom, 6'2", just absolute menacing, bro. Like, if you think of athleticism, and I give you one name and I give you one moment, can you think of something more athletic than OBJ's mother bleeping catch with one hand with the New York Giants?
Fair point.
Like, full stretched in the air. I know hockey players have to skate, and that's obviously, it requires a lot of skill. But they don't leave their feet.
But the thing is, I call that talent rather than skill. I think being a good skater is kind of a talented thing. I mean, you can train it up, obviously, but to be a really good skater, I think you have to be talented. Connor McDavid's talented at the way he can skate. Ilya Mikheyev is talented the way he can skate.
All right, you got to remember, though, football, if I'm a running back, I get the ball, I can run out of bounds.
Sure.
I can go in a knee.
But will you, though? Like, what?
I don't know. I'm in the corner in hockey. There's nowhere to go. Is someone coming to hit, someone to level me? I can't go anywhere.
The game isn't that physical. It's not like 98 where, like,
it's playoff hockey.
Eric Lindros has his head down going across the blue line, and he gets absolutely smoked by Scott Stevens, and that changes the course of his life.
Football is the most aggressive, violent, and physical sport. I will give you that, but I don't think it's the most athletic sport.
Are you kidding, bro?
Dude, they're skating 20 miles an hour on like a half-an-inch blade.
Yeah, for about 20 minutes. Like, defensemen will play like 24 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
But you never leave your feet. I mean, you have to, like, imagine jumping 10 times in a row. Like, yeah, I guess, I mean, you could do jumping, like, not just jumping jacks, but, like, jumping as high as you can because you're competing for a 50-50 ball. Yeah. Or you're, or you have to push, you're trying to impose your will against another grown-ass man your size, and you're trying to get to the quarterback, and it's a 7-second, like, TJ Watt is probably more athletic than 90% of the NHL.
I mean,
I don't know about that.
Think about the jump that a lot of these guys have.
Like, Nick Bosa, bro.
Look at Nick Bosa's jump. Imagine that on skates.
But they can't skate. That's the thing.
Christian McCaffrey.
Skating is a skill.
Derrick Henry, bro. Will truck a mother bleeper.
Yeah, but if you put those guys on skates, they're like deer on ice.
Yeah, but how fast do you think a hockey player can run? How fast do you think Connor McDavid can run?
I guarantee if you took the best player in the NHL, McDavid, and you put him at a comparable position in the NFL, a wide receiver or even a running back,
that's what I was gonna say. Where would you put
he would succeed tenfold over any other player in the NFL if you put them on ice.
Well, it's
I
a
agree.
different skill set.
But look
I mean,
at the
it's-
skating, man. There's pivots, crossovers, backwards,
There's
forwards,
all of that.
stops,
That's
starts.
all that in football too.
But you're wearing shoes. Anyone can do that.
You
Yeah.
also have to remember every play. You have to remember your roots. You have to know where to break.
But that's not athleticism. That's smarts.
It's also the skill to be able to make the foot move. Like, I saw a video where Justin Jefferson was saying no one runs a post dig in the NFL. No one runs a post dig. And then the comment on TikTok was Jamar Chase post dig. And you watch Jamar Chase and it has his athleticism, the ability to be able to make his feet a hiccup, to be able to stop, boom, boom, and break.
Yeah.
And it opens up the play.
Maybe it's just bias in me because I'm a hockey guy. But I
Maybe.
do. I'm not going to take away the athleticism.
Do you think
of football.
anybody can do what Patrick Mahomes does? Like no look passes, throws. My guy was horizontal in the Super Bowl, throwing sidearm. I don't know if I can't remember if he completed that pass. I mean, he's running for. I think he ran like 500 yards that game, just getting chased all over the field by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, and that's a quarterback. I mean, is anybody more athletic than Lamar Jackson? Like, you know, when Lamar Jackson steps on the field, he is the best athlete on the field. Man, I've heard people describe being in a room with Cam Newton. Cam Newton was, when at his height, the best athlete on any field that he stepped on. He was like 6'5" and could run like a 4.4. And he was enormous and trucking dudes before Jalen Hurts is doing the tush push. Man, even one of those, even Jason Kelsey is hella, I mean, he's a fully embraced like his dad bod, but that man, Jason could probably do box jump. If you do like box jumps, 3-cone drill, broad jump, like if they put hockey players, soccer players, football players, baseball players in some multi-sport combine which didn't involve skating, or maybe it does involve, and you just weight it differently, like the scores would be, I'm taking DK Metcalf, I'm taking Myles Garrett first overall. All things, because your bench, your deadlifts, sprints, whatever. Like that's who I'm taking. Like, listen, here's great. When the aliens arrive,
Death be
you know what? Let's send the Florida Panthers.
I want Iguodala.
Yeah. You sending the Florida Panthers, or you sending some absolute? Are you sending? I'll send the Alabama friggin' Crimson Tide. I'd send the college team before I send like the Anaheim Mighty Ducks to fight the aliens.
The not so mighty
That is
does.
actually-
They're not so much. I'm not sending Troy Terry and friggin' Frank Vetrano and mother bleeping.
Nice pull.
And I'm not sending Chris Kreider to defend us versus the aliens. I'm sending the football team.
No, Kreider will just run through them like Price. We'll be good.
Oh my goodness.
And go for the knees.
All right, fine. I'll give you football.
Well, that's just me. I'm trying to make a passionate. I've taken so many L's in my life that I'm trying to get a W on
give
your
you
guys'
a W.
I
podcast.
have to give you another one. I think I might have switched from soccer. Football's the most athletic sport now. I'm taking it.
Yeah, this kid, who's the kid in Yamal Lamine or whatever?
Lamine Yamal, yeah.
Lamine, the 17-year-old phenom, like that mother bleeper, man. Or man, and Mbappe, man, the 2 World Cup finals. That kid could run like the wind.
Yeah,
And-
man. It's just the consistent pressure. And I mean, like, even when I think about hockey and football, you get sits. Like, if you're on defense, you're sitting out a whole half of the game. Hockey, you're running your 30, 40-second shifts, minute shifts. Soccer, you don't get off the field.
Yeah.
You're on the field for 90 minutes. You have
Yeah.
a 45-minute break in the middle. Or 20 or whatever it is in the middle. And then you're back on it for 45 minutes straight.
Yeah.
And I'm not a soccer guy, but the way that you're running and, like, the amount of heart conditions that you see in soccer players because of the way that they're putting, like, the strain they're putting on their heart makes a difference. But I mean, football too. The strain.
I'm still taking football players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've switched. Michael.
I'm still in hockey, man.
Yeah?
Because I've seen videos of not even the best NHL players. I'll use Austin Matthews as an example, but I've seen him swing a baseball. I've seen him swing a golf club. I've seen him shoot a basketball. He excels at not excels, but he does very well at everything.
That's what I'm saying. If you plucked a hockey player and put him in any sport, he would do fine.
NHL, not even
play offense in football. They can only play half the sport.
hockey players use soccer to warm up.
No, I'm saying football. You can't. The only person you can put on the defense is Zdeno Chara, and like who's that guy on Florida or not Florida and New York? Matt something.
Matt Rempe.
Matt Rempe. Those are the only guys you can put on defense from the NHL. Who else you gonna put on defense? Matthews would get destroyed at corner.
Yeah, but it's now you're talking genetics because you can't put Austin Matthews as a center in the NFL.
No.
You can't put Morgan Riley as a tight end in the NFL.
But that's what I'm saying. The football players could flip the other way. You could put someone like CMC at your wing. You could put someone.
They'll put Aaron Donald in the net. It'll just be like eating the puck as it comes in raw.
I don't think he's not even as tall as Vasilevsky. I think Vasilevsky is like 6'4" or something.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald's
he's a
only
freak.
6 feet tall. And I don't know how tall Bobrovsky is, but like Vasilevsky's a large human.
The big cat.
Yeah.
That's what they call him.
Although, you know what? Now that like
Are we flipping you?
no. I was gonna say I was gonna maybe enter. No, okay, no. I'm gonna stick with football. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna stick with football.
Yeah. Are you going to join us for this last milk?
I'm gonna observe you guys milking each other. I'm not gonna. I'm
No
not
one's
gonna
milking each
participate.
other. We're milking the sport.
I'm not gonna. We're not gonna
NBA?
participate.
NBA, you've been
milked.
Cabbie, man, this is an unbelievable pod.
Thank you.
So much for coming out. Thank
It's
you
my
so much
pleasure.
For taking the time.
Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you so much for imparting wisdom on us sweaty idiots.
This is my pleasure. I had a lot
We
of
can always
fun.
use it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, pal. Okay, let's open the windows.
You got anything going on?
No, not well. You guys can check my socials. Just on IG, it's The Real Cabbie, and then Twitter, it's Cabbie, and I don't really use TikTok that much. And I'm on YouTube a little bit, but like IG is the main place to find like the stupid stuff that I'm up to.
Very nice. Not stupid, man. This guy's got unbelievable guests. He's got unbelievable interviews.
Thank you.
He really made the statement, his motto, come true. Entertainment first, journalism second.
Thank you, man. Nice
Did our
pro.
homework, don't you?
Nice. I appreciate
We
it.
also have a gift for you, Taylor, on the stool right there next to you. Cabbie, we wanted to give you a little parting gift as a thank you for coming on the pod.
Let's go.
Very
We got
own
merch, brother.
Sweaty Trio.
Sweaty Trio hoodie.
I will sweat in this hoodie. Thank you, fellas. Oh, this is phenomenal.
Thank you, man. Oh, thank you so much.
I'm gonna wear this in the winter when it's nice. not in the summer. But yes, thank you very much, fellas. This is great.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for coming.
Gabby.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you. man.
Everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Do everything that is interactive so that we can stay active.
Nice.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
Thanks, Cabbie.
Stay sweaty.